You're somehow listening to this, Mom. I love you. Me when I meet what new cheese, fridge cheese.
Me when fridge cheese.
Some people call it roll infinity. Welcome, commanders, captains, and cassowaries. We're so thrilled to have you along with us in our journey through the world of Magic the Gathering. You're watching or listening to the Cozy Magic Podcast, the coziest. We're cozy.
So cozy.
So cozy, coziest Magic Podcast around. I'm one of your hosts, and I can't ever decide which deck to bring to like a convention or Nigel.
And I am one of your hosts and paying the miracle cost, Ruby.
Didn't you play the Aminatu pre-con in the Wizard sponsor stream last night?
Yes.
Yeah, watch a bit of that. How'd that go?
It didn't go well.
Because I remember I tuned in from before you folks started playing, and then I tuned in after. I'm like, whoa, Panda's at 63.
A lot of life.
Yeah.
A lot of life.
Well, today we're going to be talking about something fairly topical. We're going to be talking about the pre-game conversation, otherwise known as Rule Zero. So if you haven't heard that before, fantastic. And if you had heard of it before, I think it's good to sort of talk about it, even if you're like someone who's played Commander a lot as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I find like we sometimes don't have the time to talk about it. But before we do that, what's going on with you, Ruby?
I hosted another Ladies and Ladies
Yeah,
draft.
that was 4 days ago.
Sunday.
It feels like a long time ago, but then I think about it, it's like actually not that long ago.
Doesn't feel like a long time ago for me.
Yeah, and so I remember we had the first one, second one, and every time I see pictures of the attendees, it keeps going bigger and bigger. So please tell us a little bit about that.
So, I host a draft for ladies, and basically she, her, they, them, pronoun users.
Any, all, that kind of thing.
Yeah, any, all, marginalized genders to come along and practice drafting together. It's very low key, but like Wizards send us the cards, and
thanks, Wizards.
Thank you. And Plenty of Games host us, which is so lovely.
We love Plenty of Games.
Thank you, Plenty of Games, for giving us the tables and the space. And like they do our giveaways like on their big screen, the duck race. As well.
Big fan.
And so this time as well, because there were so many people who wanted to do it, we did a ticketed event.
And how'd that go? Because I remember this is the first time it was ticketed, right?
Yeah, it went really well. So it was ticketed because it was also the first time it was open to everybody to be able to buy a ticket, and it meant that we could buy our own giveaways, and I provided a lot of snacks, and everyone got a drink with their ticket too. So it was really big.
It's like a win-win
really
for everyone. You
Absolutely.
know, LGS wins, the attendees win. You don't have to fork out your own cash as much as you can, you know, but like it's better. Yeah.
I learned a lot about keeping a budget too. So good for next time. I think next time, because we had a capacity for 40 this time. I think next time, for manageability, not only for me but for the store and the space as well, I think we're gonna I'll keep it to 32. So 4 tables.
And then that's 8. That's right.
4 tables is good, but like trying to speak across 5 is a little bit difficult. It's hard to get to everybody. It's hard to help everybody. Then we take up quite a bit of space.
Especially like it's not booked out for. You know,
Well,
there's other attendees around. And
there are other events on the weekend.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, as well. So I think it would just be nice. And then also once I start hosting more Ladies and Ladies events that are not just draft, there's like a ton of things I really like to do, and more chill events as well.
Yeah, nice.
I'll do a draft, but not as often.
Okay.
So maybe
mix it up every now and then.
maybe every core set. And then mixing it up in between.
You got a bit of Jumpstart. If Jumpstart's coming back with Foundations.
Yes. I'm hoping the next one is Jumpstart.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that. That's the thing I'm most excited about in Foundations.
I think so too. I think the same for me. We've obviously talked about our love for Jumpstart. I don't know why we both love Jumpstart so much. It's just so easy, right?
It's easy. It's like the most even playing field you'll ever be on.
And the thing is, even if you lose, you're like, that was fun. Let's play again.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to keep going. It is quick, right? But good to know for Ladies and Ladies. It was Dustmorn.
It was for Dustmorn. Yeah. So keep an eye out on when the next one will be. There'll also be a meetup at PAX.
Yeah. And well, the thing that's very important as well is if you're not part of the Discord, you should 100% join the Cozy Magic Club Discord, because now it's capped at 32. There's even more, pressure to secure a seat. So if you want to do that, please join the Discord. That's like we drop that there first.
Yeah,
and
you'll
then
get
we'll do
updates on the
socials
Discord
and stuff
first for sure.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so what have you been up to? Very exciting things, right?
Because my wife came to the second Ladies and Dadies, and she won, the Family Matters Bloomberg Commander deck. We couldn't come to this one because I was in Tasmania. Tasmania is, if you're not familiar, it's a beautiful, beautiful state in Australia. I've never been to before. Have you been to?
No,
Tassie?
I've never been.
It's gorgeous.
How long is the boat ride?
So
or did you fly?
I took a plane.
Okay, all right.
Because we actually looked at like what is cheaper. Is it cheaper to like fly there and rent a car? Oh, we've got cars. We'll take the ferry. The Spirit of Tasmania is like a 16-hour ride or something like that.
Okay, never mind.
I could be wrong, but it's not worth it.
I fall in trap into the mindset that foreigners have about Australia, where they're like, it's not that far, it doesn't look that far, and then it's actually really far.
Yeah.
That's me with Tasmania.
You're like, so did you go to the Opera House and go see the quokkas and go see
did you walk
to the Great
there?
Barrier Reef? I'm like, it's like the
That's
desert.
so far.
Yeah, but no, Tasmania was absolutely gorgeous. And when I say it was beautiful, like the people are beautiful. The food was so good. I had wallaby for the first time there. It was delicious.
Was it like gamey?
No, because you know how kangaroo can be like quite gamey.
Yes.
I am not a big fan of that, but wallaby was a bit sweet even. So I actually loved it.
No way.
And the alcohol that they produce there, because the water is so like good. The crops there, they're very big on local produce. All the ingredients, they're just so fresh, so good, and I just had a great time. I was there for 3 nights, but I'm like, I want to go back again. So yeah,
I've heard great things about the wine there.
You know what's funny? I thought the wine was not as good as like the gin and like the brandy and all the whiskey and stuff like that. So it was still good, but
Interesting.
yeah.
Distilleries, like gin distilleries, are becoming they've over the last
In vogue.
very
in vogue.
very
nowadays.
in vogue for sure.
And then they'll do like local flavored gin. So I don't know what's the local flavor of Australia.
I've seen like bubblegum gin.
Yeah, I've seen like myrtle like tree, like, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Tasmania was beautiful, and we went for my mum's 60th, so that was very nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
happy birthday, Mama Nigel.
Yeah,
Mama Victus.
If you're somehow listening to this, Mum, I love you.
So, we're talking about the pre-game conversation.
We certainly are, but before that, Ruby, I got some packs to crack.
I'm trying to move us too quick. You've got 2?
I've got 2. So these packs have been so good. I won I won the duck race and I won the raffle at Plenty of Games on the same day. And everyone was like, rigged. I'm like, yeah.
Also, how many episodes has it been? And I still try and move us in the wrong direction of what the next thing we do is.
I always let you crack a pack and you're like, let's talk about
anyway,
the episode.
Let's yap.
All right, so I'm going to crack these ones really quick. So this is the Bloomborough promo pack. There's always like 2 cards in this. One of them is Balin the Haymaker, which is one of my new commanders. So that's really fun. It's a little rabbit. Stormcatch Mentor, which is
the otter?
Little otter. And this isn't even from what do you call it? Bloomborough. Leonin Lightscrap, the cat cleric.
Oh, at least it's a cat.
Yeah, it is a cat. There's a little code here that's cool.
There should have been cats in Bloomberg.
Yeah, well, there is the one that's like a big, nasty beastie.
More.
But like cats
Cat
are
folk.
like a small, it's like a, I get it though. It's like a predator.
Calamity beast.
Calamity beast. Yigra.
What's our second one?
All right, so now we've got a, what is it? Wild of Eldrin Collector. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do that. So I think
We'll see one of these in a while.
Token, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm not mistaken. So okay, cool. Intangible Virtue, Griffin Airy, Mountain, Woodland Acolyte, Ego Drain. We want a Ristic, like a foil confetti Ristic study, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's what we want, because that appears in this. All right,
Foil
so let's
confetti,
go.
anything.
So rest in peace, foil shiny rest
Cool.
in peace. That's good. Ooh. So Comic Justice, which is a Japanese anime art.
It's the anime one.
Yeah, so we like that. We like that. Okay, there's a Decadent Dragon.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Like
Feral Encounter. me when I meet what new fridge cheese.
Me when fridge cheese.
Yep. And
2 a.m.
Twinning Twins. Twinning Twins.
Twinning?
It's
Twinning.
It's twinning twins. Yeah, twinning twins.
They,
So they're not even twins. They're twinning twins.
They are extra twinny.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Alrighty. Now let's get into the
No confettis. And now we move on. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Well, today again, we're talking about the pre-game conversation or Rule 0, which is the conversation that we have before Commander, right? What is the pre-game conversation? Again, if you've never had that before, it's fine. Like, and this is sort of what this episode is going to be talking about, just about like setting the basis for Commander, because there's like 26,000 game pieces.
Yeah.
Right. Normally, when you pick up a game, like if it's Monopoly, it'll have the money, the gold cards, and all the hotel stuff in it, and that's all you get. If you're playing chess, it's the chessboard, and that's it. But when it comes to Commander, every game you play is different because everyone's got a different deck, and like just because you've got a Shelob Commander, there's another person who put different cards in their Shelob Commander deck. So the normally in original Magic, it was just 1v1. Again, take us back to before Commander was even a thought, right? It was just me versus Ruby, you versus me. I want to win. You don't really care how I'm going to win, but you want to stop me. And I'm the same there, right?
Yeah.
So you're just there to win. But the pre-game conversation is an effort to establish the rules of the pod that you're playing in, right? Even something as simple as, and I'm sure you've asked the question, like, what are you playing today?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you've come to
What do you got?
Yeah, exactly. What do you got? What do you feel like playing? Even that's a pre-game conversation. So if people say, oh, I've never had a pre-game conversation before, you kind of have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least minimally.
Minimally, exactly. What are you playing?
I think it is better to have very slightly more in-depth
Correct.
ones.
Rather than just, I'm playing this, or like, and then you all don't show your commanders and it opens and like, it's going to be fun for everyone because the game's not going to be balanced, right? So whether you're playing a pre-con, whether you're playing like high power, like I know some of our friends like to play, or whether you're playing, I want to try a new deck out. So we probably won't play like a super high power deck against that because we don't know how strong it will be, you know? So there's so many different ways, right? And we've got a couple that we'll talk about. So firstly, we'll talk about one of the things that I do to sort of introduce my deck. Because the pre-game conversation is all about talking about what your deck does, right? If it's a pre-con, it's pretty straightforward. So like Amanatu pre-con, I'll ask like Ruby, what does the Amanatu pre-con do?
Yeah, I cast enchantments for their miracle cost.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's something as simple as that. But if you want to go a little bit further, what I've done before is that I've you know how I've got that luggage like case of things for my decks. I put this is in the past before I had more than 16 decks, and now I have more than 16 decks, and it's gotten complicated. But I used to have QR codes at the bottom, so when you took it out, there would be a little QR code there. You could scan it, it would take it to the Moxfield page.
That's really cool.
And then you'd be able to with all the Moxfield page of my decks, I'll write like short descriptions. So for example, I've put two over here, and I'll just read them out really quickly. For my one of them is for my zombie deck. So I start by saying zombie typal. So it talks about what kind of deck it is, wins by, and I'll talk about some of the win conditions because that's one of the good things to talk about during Rule 0. Most lower power decks, they'll be like, I don't have to talk about the win cons because I'm just attacking you with my commando or whatever. But I always talk about the win cons, especially if it's like a combo deck or something like that. So say wins by Rooftop Storm and Ashnod's Altar and Liliana Untouched by Death, or Havengal Lich and dies ETB triggers infinite combo. So basically I'll create a zombie, sack the zombie, create a zombie, sack the zombie, and then bring it back from the graveyard and do zombie stuff, right? Doing zombie stuff. Exactly. And then I'll say the sub themes, which are go white and combo, medium interaction. So medium interactions, I put it there to be like, I'm gonna Path to Exile, I'm gonna Swords to Plowshares, I'm gonna counterspell.
Is that what medium interaction means?
So interaction is what I say is like how I interact with the board. Right. So if I say medium interaction, like you can sort of medium expect me to control what you do. But if it's low interaction, which is like my Lyra's Flight of the Angels deck, I just focus on my own thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I would say that my Shelob deck is low interaction.
Correct, because you're focused on the hey spiders.
Like I make spiders, quick, make the spiders.
Correct, and that's a good way. So like people saying how much interaction you running in your deck, you'd be like, not much. And then you can point out a couple of like big ones, like it's black green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can say Assassin's Trophy or whatever. Like, yeah. But so again, my Angels deck, I say win by commander damage, combat damage, Aetherflux Reservoir, which is a ping you for 50 damage. Outlasting by gaining lots of life because it's an angel deck. Angel of Destiny, which is, I think you win the game something. So it has the words win the game on it. So I'll let people know straight away so they can be right. If they see that card hits the bottom of Nigel's side, get rid of it.
Get rid of that.
Get rid of it. Sub-themes, life gain, only angels and humans, low interaction, medium board wipes. So I'll say something like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's a medium board wipe? So
I run like maybe 3 board wipes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think in Verena and Liliana I have like 1 board wipe, but it's not even a good board wipe. It's like destroy all humans, return all zombies. So if you're playing a cat's deck, it's not a bot wipe at all. It's just bringing my zombies out.
Right. It's very specific.
Yeah. I think it's called Zombie Apocalypse. So it's very
cool.
Very flavorful. Yep. I've also spoken to like a couple of creators that we know. So the Get Commander boys. I know that they've got a Rule 0 template as well.
Right.
So literally it's 4 questions, right? So one of them is, how does your deck win? So similar to mine, like, do you have any combos? Do you plan to win by turning, all my creatures into food artifacts or whatever it is? Or do you intend to commander damage me, combo, whatever, right? Secondly, how is your deck consistent? Does it have a lot of ramp? Does it have tutors? So tutors is a good, you know what a tutor is, right?
Yeah, like searching for cards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
specific cards.
Exactly. So most lower powered decks won't run tutors, right? The more tutors you put, the more consistent your deck becomes because you can always find your combo piece. You can always find the board wipe when you need it, that kind of thing. Third question is, how do you stop others? So this is where I say interaction. They say, how do you stop others? Counter spells, board wipes, removal, stacks. Are you familiar with the term stacks as well?
I have heard it a million times.
Yeah, so stacks is kind of like stuff that stops you from doing stuff, right? A very good example is the card Ghostly Prison. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless you pay 2 for your creature.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, I don't want to, it's like tax. It's like a tax.
It's a tax.
So if I would, creature spells your opponents play cost 1 more to cast. So you're like, you're making me pick taxes. I don't want to do it.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool.
And how experienced are you? Are you new to Commander? Is this your first game? Have you been playing?
Play a lot?
Yeah. So I actually, like, when I go to pre-releases, I always ask my opponent, maybe after the first game, like, oh, have you been playing a lot? Have you been, are you new to the game? So it helps me gauge, one, how new they are to the game. So if they're new, I can like help them a little bit more, through the process. But if they're quite experienced, then I'd be like, right, I don't have to read every card unless you ask me to, sort of thing. But it helps during Commander as well because, you can offer that, help to a new player. And you can sort of, if they're not, and some people are quite shy to ask for help. Yeah. Right.
I think on that as well, it's probably good to get into the practice of reading, reading your cards out to your opponent anyway. I've just realized a handful of games that I've had recently as well where people kind of just won't read them out. It's like,
especially if they're like newer cards, like if it's a new precon. Like with the new Dustmon precons, just because you've played with them before, doesn't mean I have.
Yeah, there's 4 decks.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Just because I've got the Amina 2 deck doesn't mean I know exactly what the Winter deck does.
Yeah.
For example. So it's a good habit to get in practice, especially if it's newer decks as well.
Yeah, or with people that you've never played with before.
Yes, yeah. If it's things like Rampant Growth, I'll say everyone knows what it does. They're like, yep. Like, no, sweet, I'll read it out to you. Or you can read that while I search for my land. Good point. Chili from Casual Compliance, one of my good friends as well. He saw there was a tweet of someone who, you know what sagas look like, right? The enchantments?
Yes, yeah.
So it's got like 1, 2, 3. So someone tweeted quite a while ago, they were like, they make custom sagas for the commander, and they'll be like, these are the 3 things that my deck can do. So that's
cool.
It's really cool. So, for example, my angel deck, it would be like, the 1, it would be like angels and humans only, and then 2nd, life gain and smack you in the face with flying angels. 3rd, kill you with Aetherflux Reservoir, 50 life to the face. So just something like that. Like,
that's really good.
It's
that's
quick,
really cool.
right? It's quick and be like, right, I get the gist of your deck already.
Yeah.
So he was thinking of doing something like that as well. So I was like, that's actually a pretty good idea too.
Yeah. I might look into something like that too for my deck.
Let's see if I can see if I can put the tweet up here. I need to probably ask Chili for it, but I remember seeing that around as well.
So, like recently?
Ooh, last year or something. Yeah. We found old tweets before.
That's
so
true. You
we'll
can just
find
search.
them.
You can just search.
I think it's so important as well because Commander games involve like, it's not just 2 people, it's 4 people. So there isn't a good pre-game conversation. It can sort of like mismatch the decks. And I've played it in so many of them before just because like there's one, like I don't really want to make people uncomfortable if I want to dictate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like you were saying as well, sometimes people feel uncomfortable and they don't want to
rock the boat or
or like they don't always want to ask questions. I have to ask you to do things as well. So being able to start and have those conversations.
I think it's not maybe so intuitive, but I think it's definitely better for everyone because you're gonna sit down to Commander game. They're not like 20 minutes, you're done. It's like an hour at the minimum you're investing. If not, you played a game where it was like 4 or 5 hours or something.
I have played many hours. I haven't had a 5 to 6 to 7 hour game in a long time.
Our playgroup's getting sort of better at knowing, okay, Phoebe's got the dinosaur deck. I'm scared of dinosaurs. Kayla's got Merfolk. Let's get and everyone sort of, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, but even still, like last night's game was a 4-hour game. Which is still
Spell table's hard.
It's still quite long. Spell table can be like that.
Also, because it's a new set as well.
Yeah. All the new.
It was 4 hours long.
It was 4 hours. I was fading.
Wow. That calls for a Red Bull, I think.
Yeah, I should have, honestly.
But yeah, so last Monday, I played against 3 other friends. So it was Iranga, it was Tom, and it was Akela playing Phoebe's dinosaur deck. This
cool.
happens. And then Tom was playing a precon. I was playing the lands deck I've told you about before, which is not really strong.
Is it the one that doesn't do anything?
It doesn't really do anything, but it's very funny. But the problem was Iranga played, not the problem, but the reason why it was sort of like a not really well-matched game was because he played one of our friends' decks. And this friend of ours, Dylan, his decks are all very...
He played
a very high-powered mono-red deck. And on the turn 3, Iranga casts Blood Moon. So do you know what Blood Moon does?
All lands are mountains.
Yeah. So
wait, you've got it here.
Yeah, have a read of that.
Oh, non-basic lands are mountains.
Yes. So again, I'm playing the lands deck. Tom's playing the Amina 2 deck, which is 3 colors. He could not cast a single spell because he had 1 planes and everything else was like a triple color.
That's gross.
So Blood Moon is one of these cards that you don't normally see in a low-powered game. Right? We were playing a fairly low-powered game. Mm-hmm. I will give it to Iranga. That the thing, right?
But he didn't know. It wasn't his deck.
So A, it wasn't his deck, so how was he to know? But B, Iranga maybe doesn't play as much as maybe like we... No, I'll say like... Maybe doesn't know that it's a very strong card and that you don't really expect to see it at lower power tables, right? Because I think he got it after, but it really shut the whole deck, like the whole game down, and he won in the end. By the way, he won. You don't
say. Crazy.
But that's sort of why a pre-game conversation is so important. And we didn't really have one. We just said, because Iranga didn't bring a deck as well. So it's like, all right, you can borrow a deck. I was like, and then I said, maybe you can borrow one of my decks. I said after the game, I was like, maybe you should borrow one of my decks. So that's like maybe a very personal example of why maybe you should have a pre-game conversation. Yeah, and it's so much rewarding if everyone's playing at the same level because again, you're sitting down to like, it's not, I wasn't sour about losing the game. I was a little bit salty that we didn't get to play the game on the same level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know that silly graphic where it's like a fence and then people are like short and they can't see over. If you stand on a ladder, it's like equal playing field, or you know what I'm talking about? Something like that, I think. If we're all playing on a level playing field, it feels fine. Mm-hmm. But I've played so many games where it doesn't really matter if I don't win. If my deck gets to perform, I'm actually really happy. I don't mind losing. So
I think that's the hard part of Commander though, because that's where your politicking or your awareness comes in. Actually, I can touch on that a little bit.
Like, please.
I find. Hold on one sec.
Gotta have a sippy sip.
Choking on air. I think if you're coming into this is away from that game now.
Yeah.
But I have come across, now that I'm playing with more people outside of our play group, people with a really individualistic approach to Magic, but Commander, which is like not
so well suited for
it's
Commander,
not very
but,
well
but
suited.
go on.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not trying to be like, oh, these people. No, it's just like it's never quite a good game.
Yep.
When that's the case.
Yep.
We're lucky enough that we all kind of feed each other and have taught each other and learned together about asking the questions and how to like not just slam dunk on
the
people,
one person. Yeah, correct.
Or like how we speak to each other as well is a really big one.
Yeah. I've played. Sorry to interrupt, but like I played.
He's speaking to me wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've played in a pot before, and it kind of surprised me a little bit because like I knew all these people and we're playing, and I think I removed their commander, and the person like swore at me a little bit strongly, and I was like, I didn't. Like, and I said to them, like, I don't think that was necessary. And I think they got it straight away.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So it's just sometimes you can swear in jest, right? Like I'll say sometimes, and it's not aimed at anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wait, it's a bit aggressive. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, maybe not necessary.
Yeah. It made me realize, like the last few games that I've played, it made me realize that I need to get better at explaining as well, and having that
when you say explaining, you mean like if you're uncomfortable with the situation
or like say one person is coming to our pod of 3 people of existing play group to explain that, hey, we actually have a really casual approach. Like I know Commander is already casual, but like we're not here to win or any of that kind of stuff. Because I think that mismatch happens when one person comes in and we're all like hee hee ha ha, and they're like,
Blood Moon
play
turn
the
3.
game.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think when you set the expectation, it's setting expectations, right? I think even if someone's in that mindset, but then you say those words, by the way, we're super cash.
Yeah.
They can still think that way, but maybe they'll be like a little bit toned down.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's it's like a skill for us to learn how to communicate that, and a skill for them to learn how to understand and take that in.
Yeah. It's a good point that you say that, because I was just about to bring up the point where, apart from like, what does your deck do? You brought up a good point saying that this is how we approach the game.
Yeah.
Because I've approached a pot before, and this was really good. So I wrote this down. It was, by the way, we play the 3 take back rule. I'm like, what do you mean? So we say everyone gets 3 take backs. Everyone gets 3 miss triggers, or I played that. Could I take it back? And that's fine. Like no like qualms about it. But once you lose your last one, it's done. And in the sense that A, you learn to actually like remember your triggers and stuff. B, it puts a little bit of agency on you, and C, it speeds up the game.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Especially because it also it quashes any quarrels over that like from the get-go before they've even happened.
Correct. So everyone will have like a little dice with 3. Sometimes you never use it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and then sometimes you'll never use it, but sometimes you'll be like, I'm gonna use one of my take back dice. Everyone's straight away, yep.
Yeah.
There's no, ooh, can I take that back? And then 2 people will be like, yeah. And one person's like, well, actually, you know.
Well, yeah. I understand it completely.
Yeah, so the 3 take back rule, that's a thing.
Have you QA'd that amount?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Like, did you choose 3 because it's like a golden?
I didn't choose it. Again, I went to a pot and they said that to me. I'm like, you know what? I like that.
3.
I like that.
Yeah. Because I feel like in the past, we've all, at least one of the people that I play with have been like, sure, you can have that. That's your 1.
Okay, yep.
I'm never 3 in my brain sounds like a lot, but in a 4-hour game, maybe not.
And that's the thing, right? Because it's a 4-player game, you need to remember your triggers on your own stuff. But then sometimes your things trigger off someone else's enter the battlefield or leaves or stuff like that. So you could run out of your 3 by the time it's turn 4,
fast.
you know? So, but it also helps because I know a lot of people will like tap lands wrong and they're just like, oh, I'm just going to take that back. And sometimes it's fine, but sometimes you're like, you're using that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and again, people make mistakes, that's fine. But if everyone's on the same, like you get 3 and that's it, again, like it sort of helps that we're on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah.
really do like that. I'm gonna start using the
3
3
take back rule.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Sets the tone
Yeah.
and the rule right away.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Did you talk about the second thing
Yeah,
already?
that's what I talked about.
Perfect,
oh,
perfect.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of one thing to keep track of when you have the conversations as well. And for me, for all of us, is that sometimes, we're very fortunate to have a pretty big play group that plays very regularly. Sometimes people don't. So
yeah, true.
If people don't know something, if they're not super open to this kind of thing yet, hopefully they'll warm up to it and the conversation will really help.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Honestly, we are quite fortunate because whenever I rock up to, playing your games on Monday or Fortress on the Friday, it's almost always there's a pod ready to play. So many times when there's 3 of us and there's like one person comes like, are you looking for someone to play? And we're like, sorry. We're actually waiting on someone. So there's actually quite a few people who actually turn up, without anyone looking for someone to play. So having that sort of mindfulness, like you said, I think, especially if it's someone else coming in, it just helps set the tone for everyone. Yeah. So you're definitely right.
And everyone has a good time.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it, isn't it? So we talk a lot about the pre-game conversation, but what happens not often enough, I think, is the post-game conversation.
Yes, this is interesting.
Some people call it rule infinity, which is rule 0, rule infinity. Yeah,
it's forever.
Yeah, well, it's at the end, right? Yeah, but it sort of happens sometimes because, like, if let's say we're playing a 4-player game and say Casa gets knocked out, Casa will be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go join my game who's waiting for a 4th of them." Like, fantastic, go in. I'm not gonna wait you sit here and wait
you
for
must
us
witness.
Exactly. But I've had some really good post game conversations, especially with untrusted play groups. And when I say untrusted play groups, it means a play group where a pod where it's not everyone that you know, right? So again, like if there's 3 of you and someone comes in, it's sort of untrusted in the sense that not everyone's maybe on the same page yet.
Yeah.
Right. So
it sounds like a 2-factor authentication kind of thing.
It's just like, where's your Google authenticator app? But it's good to reevaluate, whether everyone had fun that game, whether people thought that, the decks were in balance, whether people, whether they felt like their deck had moments to shine. There was a game I remember last year. I played at Command Fest in Melbourne. And I think all my friends had gone to play Mystery Booster. And I'm like, good, go for you. I don't want to spend any money. I'm poor. And I just stuck around and played some Commander with some new friends. And this person brought their deck, which was massively super high powered. It was an AC Tyrant of Dire Straight deck, which is all about landfall, and his turns took 10 minutes. Like he would just take 10-minute long turns, and we would all just sit there, and everyone started whipping out their phones because he wouldn't even interact with anyone. He was just playing his own cards.
Individualistic.
And again, that's fine if he had established that that's what his deck was going to do, but he just said, this is the only deck I've brought, like I want to play it, and like that's fine, but I wish you would have said that, so I would have played another deck to sort of come up to that level.
Did he have fun taking 10 minutes?
I don't know if he did, but I saw at the end of that game, and I said, by the way, just letting you know, that was one of the most unfun Commander games I've ever played because of your deck. So I wish that you would let us know that that's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So, and he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, if someone, I don't anticipate anyone ever saying that to me, hopefully, but I think I would go home and cry.
Yeah,
so,
but
not because of you, but because I
definitely was a little bit salty about it, but I didn't like yell at him or anything, but I was just like, just so you know, that wasn't a fun experience. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not going to speak for the other two, but I didn't have fun during that time. So yeah, that game, it went on for too long because, and again, if I had played a strong deck, I could have been like, no, I'm going to destroy your commander. I'm going to counterspell your thing.
I can actually play against your deck.
Correct. And again, I think the other two were a little bit newer as well. So it just wasn't a fun experience. Whereas I've had like a good. So yeah, actually, when I played against Casual Compliance, played against Casa, and also Get Commanded, like when we all did the thing, we all had a really good Rule Zero conversation, and then had a great time talking about after whether we all got to do the thing as well. So, and that was like a really fun game, and I won. But I said to everyone after that, like, if I lost that game, I would have been so happy as well.
Yeah, it's almost, especially with the post-game conversation too, it's almost like extra appreciating or showing off your decks too.
Yes, exactly.
Like you get to be like, oh, this deck also does this, but I didn't get to do it this time, or like, I'm so glad that it actually, a nice little acknowledgement of that.
And I also love to acknowledge other people's decks, right? I'm like, wow, mate, your deck did that weird combo and you drew so many I actually love that, because I'm like, I'm thinking of building that deck too.
Yeah, like that was really cool.
Yeah. So it's good like thing to do as well. Yeah. I also think it's a good way for newer players to maybe learn to play the game a little bit more, because when you're playing, again, Iranga didn't know that you needed to play. You shouldn't maybe have played the Blood Moon, because as soon as he played the Blood Moon, we all teamed up on him.
Yeah.
And then I think he knew after, but newer players don't really know, right? Maybe you don't have to play another board wipe after you've done 5 board wipes have already happened. It's hour 4. Maybe just let the game end. You know, like, it's okay to lose if we win back our time.
Yeah, if we win back our time.
And again, like, sometimes existing players, they don't understand. They're like, no, I need to win. Rah! So yeah, I think both Rule Zero and Rule Infinity both serve like a quite a good
foundation.
Yeah. And again, Rule Zero is good as well, because there's a ban list, which we'll talk about very quickly. Like, some people will be like, hey, I've got a custom commander, could I play that? And they'll be like, let's take a look. Wow, it's based off you and your wife. Fantastic, let's do it. Or it's based off your pets. Sweet, let's play. So that's also a Rule Zero conversation, because if someone comes in with a photo of their cat, you're like, okay, what's that? Not that I don't want to play with your adorable.
No, but I don't know what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's also a good place to start with Rule Zero. And then sometimes people were like, hey, I want to play with this banned card, but don't worry, I play it in like a silly way. We're like, I'll give you this like benefit of the doubt. Let's do it. And I've done that before with someone, and I was like, yeah, that's great. That was actually funny to play.
What was the banned card? Do you remember?
It was. I can't remember.
It was so funny.
It was so funny. Long time ago. I'm old.
Yeah. So I mean, we can talk about the bans then.
Whew, that was a bit of a wild ride, wasn't it?
It was a wild week. I think the first thing I would like to say is that I hope that everyone listening was extremely kind and understanding and patient, and not one of the very vocal few.
It's fine to be vocal, but
kind.
You should not be vocal. Yes. Yeah. I think you've done a really good job about fostering the community that we sort of want. There is a lot of types of Magic players out there that, again, have been unkind. Yeah. To put it quite nicely.
And I think it's really important to acknowledge that just a little bit as well, especially because Cozy Magic Club and like myself as well, with like Ladies and Deities and us with teaching and everything like that. Not that we're going to tell people, when we're teaching people the first time, but I think it's really important to acknowledge that side does exist.
Yep.
Because we don't want to, have our safe little bubble and then they're thrown out into the deep end at some point, not understanding or knowing what attitudes could be out there.
Correct.
But knowing that we do not tolerate that.
Yep.
When it comes to hate or rage or
discrimination,
anything,
or
vitriol for sure. That's an absolute no. There's
no place for that in our community.
No. There's no leeway for it either.
Yeah. I don't think there's no justification for it.
No.
Like that's silly. Let's talk about emotions for a little bit, right? You can be angry. You can be, that's not fair. You cannot threaten someone's life. You cannot go after someone. You are allowed to speak your mind, but you shouldn't take it personally.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't make it personal.
It's that's a horribly unhealthy projecting. Like, be angry about what you're angry about.
Correct.
But process it in a healthy way, or like learn how to. But our community has been really, really good. Vocal, like we said, be vocal. Have your opinions.
We had a lot
if
of
you'd
good discussions.
As long as it is respectful and very reasonable, that is so fine. I will say that I didn't know that the Commander Rules Committee.
So we call them the Rules Committee.
Committee.
RC.
RC. I didn't know they existed.
Correct. So when I spoke to Tom last Monday, and this is when the RC had disbanded, he didn't know that the bans didn't come from Wizard. So a lot of people are invested like we are. And again, I would say our playgroup is quite invested, but maybe half or a quarter didn't know that there was a RC. They didn't know there was a Commander Advisory group, the CAG. And
well, I mean, a lot of us, we don't play outside of our playgroups, or outside of very casual play.
And again, they hadn't done any bans for 3 years. So and that's everyone mostly came in last year, the year before. So
after the last ban, with plenty
3
of time.
years.
3 years.
3 years.
So do you know what the last ban was?
The last ban was Golos Tireless Pilgrim, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It's a 5-mana artifact creature that when it enters, you can search for a land and put it into your battlefield tap.
Singular
Land.
ban?
Sorry?
Was that
Land.
the only?
Oh, that was the only ban that time. Yeah, it was only one. And I think something else was unbanned, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
So the fact that, we'll go through the bans really quickly now.
Yeah,
so
we'll
they
talk about
banned
what was banned
4
recently.
bans, like not out of the blue, but they did 4 bans at the same time. So that's also sort of compounded onto what everyone's like. So right. So we woke up on Tuesday morning in Australia last week, and everywhere on Twitter, everywhere in our Discords and everything, the bans were Dockside Extortionist, Jewel Lotus, Mana Crypt, and Nadu. Right. So, very
Sorry, I've just realized that I did see a lot of complaints. I didn't see a single complaint about Nadu. No. So I just realized how funny that is.
It's so funny because it broke Modern, was admitted by the Wizards that they created it for Commander, and then Commander's like, nah, it's too good for Commander too. I will say, okay, do you have an opinion on the bans yourself? Or you don't really like? Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
I think because of the capacity, the casual capacity in which we play, and with our playgroups and things like that, I will probably just continue on as I always have.
Yep.
I don't know of it. I don't have any of these cards in any of my decks.
Yep.
And with the Rule Zero conversations, like, I personally am happy to potentially have people play them.
Yep.
Like, all well and good for them to be banned. I don't mind if someone has spent their money on a card.
Yep. And then wants to play the card.
Depending on power level.
Yep.
Like, it's the same for me as well. Not that I own any of these cards, but if I have spent money on a card, I would like to play the card.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
But I think it's because, as well, we are not really collectors. We, of course, we all collect some cards,
Yep.
and we have shiny, pretty folders and binders, but largely our focus on play and enjoying the play aspect.
And again, like, we acknowledge that other people do collect and things like that, but
And
that's
that's
not
fine.
primarily how we, I think, engage with cards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I will ignore the bans
Yep.
for our play groups. We'll continue to have our conversations, and then if there's a problem within that, then
We can have more conversations.
we'll have another conversation.
So for myself particularly, I sort of I kind of agree with only one of the bans. I think Dockside is a worthy ban. I don't think that Nadu, Jewel Lotus, and Mana Crypt should have been banned. It's primarily because I think the format sort of corrects itself a little bit. If someone brings out a Nadu deck, I'll straight away be like, I don't really want to play against that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a single Nadu deck in the wild.
Neither have I.
Exactly, because we don't play CDH
Yeah.
and we don't play super high power levels.
No,
So
we
I
don't.
think if people are good about Rule Zero, and I'm not saying that people are, it will be fine. But because people aren't so good about Rule Zero, that's sort of where it's gone. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, like, and again, it's Jeweled Lotus that has to be used to cast your commander, right?
It's only commander, so it's kind of it's practically useless now.
Yeah.
Practically.
I mean, they're pretty.
Yeah, so like one of my friends was in a Twitter group. They were like, "Oh, I'm kind of sad that I can't play with this because a good friend pulled some money from them to buy for them." And then Chili actually said, "You actually still have that lovely memory, and you have that item as well, so you could frame it up, you can put it in a binder and still admire it. The bands don't take away from the cards. Especially if it's a strong memory, for you."
Yeah.
So I thought that was very beautiful.
I do feel bad if there are people who have saved up, had saved up their money.
Yeah.
Not as an investment, just as a.
I really want to make one good deck. I want to buy Jewel Lotus Macro.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a feels bad. I don't think I will ever use Magic as an investment.
No, I think that's
not
silly.
saying that it's not I don't have an opinion on whether people do or don't, but that's never going to be it for me.
For me, no.
Yeah.
I'll buy Red Bull instead. You can actually drink that.
No, they gifted us these ones. Thanks, Red Bull.
Thanks, Red Bull. But again, if you're not super sure about what's going on in the scene, basically, this happened last week. There was a lot of conversation about it, and then multiple people resigned from the CAG. Again, the CAG is the Commander Advisory Group. They don't have any power to influence the bans. They just consult on bans. And again, there's so sort of little knowledge about who does what that they were being blamed for the bans and stuff as well. And that's not nice. They were getting sent death threats as well. That's not nice. Awful. So, and of course they resign. And of course,
Yeah, I would resign.
But earlier this week, the RC said we're disbanding. We're handing control of Commander and the rules going forward over to Wizards. And there was a lot of talk about, oh my goodness, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's going to be financially motivated, and things like that. And I can see the concern. I can see the concern.
I am such a wait and see kind of person.
Yeah.
I don't really speculate for this kind of thing.
Did you see that they did a Magic? Can't remember what it's called.
Oh,
like
they did
Magic
a
Weekly.
stream.
They did a stream. So it was I think Aaron Forsyth, Gavin Verhey, and I can't remember who the other person were. But they did talk a little bit about that, and then I saw the little Reddit post about what they outlined. Then again, I'm fairly hopeful. I think we sort of have conversations about this as well in private with Casa, and we were sort of saying how Commander's so big, right? It is massive to give that responsibility to volunteers. By the way, the RC were volunteers. They were not paid. They were not ever compensated by Wizards, and they did that out of the love of their heart. For them to control a massive format with 5 people, that's a lot of work. So it's not a nice way to get here, but I think it was sort of inevitable for it to go to Wizards.
I think a lot of people did. Wizards sell Commander product. They create the cards for Commander.
Yeah.
I do think we were on the way there.
Yeah.
Definitely an abrupt, fiery way to get there, unfortunately. But yeah, I think I'm a bit hopeful.
Yeah. Again, I played Commander on Monday after the news broke. Before the news broke. I was fine.
It was a regular Commander.
We played. We had our group of high-powered friends like on the other table. They had Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypts in their decks, and they were like, "We're just gonna play with each other, right?" Sweet,
yeah.
And they did, and it was all fine.
Yeah, Rule Zero again.
Rule Zero.
Coming back to that for ban cards. Have those conversations.
Yeah.
Maybe have a sideboard in case people aren't happy with those cards.
Exactly.
Too.
Your deck isn't going to massively change if you don't have 2-3 cards in it. Yeah, just have 3 mountains or something. You know, sideboard's a good one too. Yeah. I think most importantly, the takeaway from today is just be kind. Just be kind to each other. Be kind to people you meet online. You might think it's some random that you don't know. They've got feelings too.
We're all human living our lives. You don't know what's going on in their lives or anything. And you shouldn't be spitting vitriol anyway.
No. A bit of empathy. Like, look, I don't think anyone wants to be that person, but out of the anger of their heart at that point in time, maybe they've acted out. So just maybe before you go furiously on let's breathe for a little bit, look in the mirror and be like, maybe I don't say that tweet.
And then also I put a post in the Discord as well, and I was just kind of like, also, if seeing all of it is stressful for you, take a step back. Take a step back from social media.
Go for a walk.
Like, you know, speak to your friends and your play groups, because it was very intense.
It was a big week.
Yeah, I know it actually affected my mental health too.
Yeah, okay.
So again, if it affected you, you're not alone. I'm sure a lot of people were feeling the same way. Take that break and just remember why you play Magic, and take it back to your love of the game. Yeah.
That's a great note to end on. Well, thanks so much, folks, for joining us for I talked about the Rule Zero, the bans, and all that. Thank you so much to Rect Studios for having us. Casa is going to be editing this one, so thank you to Casa.
Thanks, Casa.
Please let us know if you have any pre or post game conversations. So tell us what you talk about, right? Because I think that would be very helpful to know. So let us know in the comments. Please join the Discord if you haven't already. Find out about Ladies and Dailies events coming out. Find out about other cool things that the Cozy Magic Club is doing. Please follow Ruby on all the stuff.
Please follow Nigel on all the stuff.
And also Cozy Magic on all the socials, YouTube, all the things. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Blah, blah.